We're going to give you a practical demonstration of our Ringdown Firebar conferencing system. As you can see from this setup here, we have an air traffic controller's phone, we have airport operations phone, we have the fire chief's phone that either can be in his office or his bedroom, and we have a phone for the day shift in the fire station and day shift 2 in the fire station. So any one of these can be called. It's a fully redundant system. We have a primary and a secondary system, and if the primary fails, the secondary will automatically take over. So without more ado, I'm going to get on and actually do a demonstration. I'm the air traffic controller, and I pick up the phone and all the others start ringing. As they answer their phone, they're all joined on to a multi-party conference. And you can hear that conference coming out of the PA speaker that we've got here as well. Typically, the PA speaker would be in the fire engine shop, or it would be in the terminal building or operations building. So these phones are all now joined together. And you can hear a bit of an echo, but that wouldn't take place in real life. What I'd like to talk about next is high availability or redundant systems. You can see from our setup here, we have a primary and a secondary system. And the phones, in fact, are now homed onto the primary system, as illustrated on the screen. Now, if I simulate a failure of the network or a failure of the server by pulling this cord, the system will rehome all the phones onto the secondary. So here it is, I've pulled it out. And now, after a few seconds, the system will rehome all the phones back onto the secondary. And here we have the phones rehoming on the secondary. And now it's rehomed to the secondary. And as I mentioned before, if the primary now comes back online, the system will rehome all the phones back to the primary. So I'll just illustrate that by bringing the primary system alive again. And here you can see, after a few more seconds, that the phones will rehome to the primary system and everything is as it was. Now it's rehomed to the primary system. And everything is now normal. There's also another capability that I'd like to talk about, and that's what we call Real View. Real View is from the system admin portal on the PC, and we provide all that stuff with our system. And you can actually see what happens on a phone-by-phone basis when the person's off hook or on hook. So I'm going to clear down on the test line and just trigger another one, and you'll see the screen on the Real View change. And now you can see these are the stations that are being called. The air traffic controller turns green because he's speaking, and it can be heard on the loudspeaker. So once again, we can answer those phones, and they're all joined in to the multi-party conference. Now, the conference stays alive until the air traffic controller clears down. When he clears down, the whole thing's gone, as you can see. So he is the master controller, and he's the only person that can terminate this call. One of the other capabilities that I'd like to mention is rather unique to XOP. We have a test phone capability, and on any of these stations, the test phone can be provisioned or in the system admin. So we have a test line here, and I'm going to press the test line, and I'm going to call one of these extensions individually. I will call the fire chief's phone at 202. And now you can see the fire chief's phone is ringing, and it can be answered, and the two stations can now talk, and you can verify the testing. Now, one other thing I should mention is that the conference stays alive until the air traffic controller hangs up his phone. So let's trigger it again. There we go. and we'll answer it one by one again. And you can hear it coming out of the speaker all okay. Now, that conference will stay alive until such times as the air traffic controller hangs up his phone. If anybody else hangs up, doesn't matter. If they hang up and then pick up again, they'll go back into the conference. So this is the master controller. I'll hang it up and you'll see that the complete system is shut down now. All the calls have terminated. What I'd like to illustrate here is the sidecar function of the red phone. The sidecar function lets the person at this station see who's actually on the conference call. So for instance, when I pick up air traffic controller, it all rings and you can see that the lights change according to the stations that have answered. And that way that the fire chief knows who's on the call. He knows if his emergency people are there, or he knows the air traffic controller's there. What I'd like to illustrate now is what happens if somebody picks up this phone or knocks it off the desk by accident or think that they can use it for a regular call. So what I'd like you to do is to listen to the recording that comes out of the loudspeaker on here. And this is what any of these stations would do if they were on the handset as well. So I'm going to press new call.
This is an emergency phone only. Please hang up immediately. This is an emergency phone only. Please hang up immediately.
And you can see that it's impossible to use that as a regular phone. So what I'm going to demonstrate now is some of the other connectivity that our system has. We have two of these analog gateways here. These are typically used where you want to interface to a loudspeaker system. In addition, these boxes have relays that we can also trigger to do things like opening the fire station doors, turning on a klaxon, or switching off the ovens in the fire station. These items are fully integrated into our system, and they too can be driven from either of these two, primary or the secondary systems. So I hope you've enjoyed that presentation, and thank you very much for listening. Please come and see us at xopnetworks.com.